Hi, this is Professor Earth. And after the record warming in 2023, climate scientists don't agree. Are we at 1.5 degrees C? Are we headed higher? Or is this just an anomaly? Well, the data is very clear. If we look at the actual average global temperature data, 2023 was hotter by a record amount. It was 1.5 degrees warmer than prior years. Some months were well above 1.5 degrees C, and the overall year was about 1.48 degrees C. So we're there. But curiously, just as the temperature leaps ahead by this record amount, and we're clearly up at 1.5 degrees C, a debate is broken out whether or not what we're seeing in the world is actually happening. Some scientists accept the basic temperature data, but argue that some other process than global warming due to greenhouse gases must be occurring here. For instance, Gavin Schmidt, who's the leading climate modeler and climate scientist at NASA, thinks that some other unknown process must be causing this warming. He says it's mysterious what happened in 2023. Gavin Schmidt said there must be plus something going on. It can't be just greenhouse gases. And the very famous climate scientist, Michael Mann, as quoted in CNN, when told that James Hansen was saying we're going past 1.5, said, "That can't be right." He said, quote, "I've got 3 degrees in physics, and I can tell you that Jim is wrong." CNN quotes Chris Smith, a climate modeling expert at the University of Leeds, saying that it doesn't matter what the temperature is this year, because it takes 3 or 4 years above 1.5 degrees C to be at 1.5 degrees C, so we can just ignore a single year's data. And Michael Mann, in a note he published near the end of 2023, said that it's still possible to stay below 1.5 degrees C if we could just reach zero emissions. But if the world hasn't warmed to 1.5 degrees C, then we have to explain all these temperature readings around the planet, which when averaged, show we're at 1.5 degrees C. What's causing this? What is the extra thing that's going on if it isn't global warming due to greenhouse gases? Well, I've got a few suggestions. How about dragons in caves blasting out fire? That would heat the planet. Or even better, how about if the tortured souls in hell have somehow breached the barriers of hell and the heat is coming out and heating the planet up? Or UFOs. We could have heat waves from UFOs heating the planet, or maybe some kind of spatial hyperdimensional break that's heating the planet up, or none of the above. The fact of the matter is that we know very, very well what is causing global warming. We know precisely the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and we know how these are changing. We know exactly the amount of solar energy that's reaching the Earth's surface almost every second from our very fine scientific observatories that we have watching this. So we know what's going on with the planet, and we know that the global warming that we're seeing is caused by greenhouse gases. So if nothing extra is there, no extra process, then how do we explain this acceleration of warming that we saw in 2023? Well, James Hansen has an explanation. Of course, he's the scientist who brought the world's attention to global warming back in the 1980s. And in his more recent work, he's saying that the effectiveness of CO2 at warming the planet has been underestimated. So we should expect some acceleration in global warming. And he says there's a problem with sulfate aerosols, that they've been damping out and hiding some of the global warming. And my own work, which I described in my last YouTube video, shows that there's a lag in how quickly global warming occurs after you put aliquots of CO2 into the atmosphere. It's not immediate. There's a delay, and sometimes a significant delay. So we should expect to see more and more warming from the amount of CO2 that's already in the atmosphere. So the squabbling between scientists over whether or not we're at 1.5 degrees C above baseline temperatures is a waste of time. What this really is a warning that things could get much hotter and much worse.